Hello, my beautiful grief growers, and welcome to another Facebook Live with me on this beautiful Monday afternoon. We're talking today about how grief can change our ideas of home. And this is not, I have in the caption that feeling homeless after grief, and this is not actually being without the structure of a home. This is actually losing the feeling of having a safe and consistent and kind of forever place to go, like having a home base, having a nest, having somewhere to go where you can take off your hat, take off the mask that you've been wearing for the day, and just be at peace. And sometimes the severity of loss or the person that we lost can change our ideas of home and feeling like we belong somewhere, feeling like we fit in somewhere. So this week on the podcast, I talked about the very first time that I went home after I lost my mom, and so much had changed, not just with the seasons changing, time passing, but having my dad be in charge of the household and kind of the way that he ran things versus what my room looked like before and after. And just, I remember walking in the door and feeling like this gut punch of, oh my God, everything is different. My home is no longer my home. And it's just this feeling of being without this space to really ground yourself. And I really felt kind of uprooted. I use this visual a lot of a tree being pulled up from the ground and having its roots dangling in the air, and you can't put it back where it came from, but you also, there is nowhere else to put it, and you're kind of in this interim space of feeling and being homeless. And it's really heartbreaking. And that was the first time that I experienced anything like that in my life. And it was unfortunately just another loss that I had to grieve in addition to grieving my mom. And it is different if you are in the home, if you live in the home where you have lost someone, if you've lost a spouse, if you've lost a sibling, if you've lost a child, and you have to go back to that home day after day after day after day after day. Those changes are less noticeable because you're living in them, but it's also a harder situation because it feels like in that home you have nowhere else to go. I imagine there's like a trapped feeling with that. With mine, it was the total opposite, where I lived at college and then came home about 2-3 months after I lost my mom for the first time, and it was just this really stark difference of, oh my God, my home has changed. I no longer have a home. So it's two different types of homelessness feeling, and I'm sure there's a scale of in between, but it's just another loss that I want to acknowledge today, that it is possible to lose the feeling of home without actually losing the structure of home. Now, there is a possibility of actually losing the structure of home after you've lost somebody or lost something or lost someone, after losing a person, getting divorced, losing a job, etc. You may lose your physical home, whether it's sold, whether you lose it in a divorce or for some kind of legal reason, or if your home changes drastically because of some kind of like a major diagnosis or something like that, where there's literally equipment coming into or things moving out of your home, where your physical space changes around you. So there are all kinds of ways you can lose home. And I guess this week on the podcast, which you can listen to with the link above, I just wanted to bring some light to the fact that you can lose a home and not actually lose the house itself, but these feelings of home, these consistent, these warm, these constant feelings and reassurances that we have, you can lose that after a loss. And it's just another part of loss that you have to grieve. So if you are in this right now, if you have lost someone or something and you are kind of wrestling with this feeling of being homeless, of being without a space in the world, of being without belonging, and the space you used to go has changed so much that you can't identify it anymore, I see you in this. It really sucks, and it's really hard, and it's just awful, and you're kind of just, I'm getting this visual right now from Lilo and Stitch, where Stitch is sitting out in the rain, and he can't go back home to Lilo, and he has no place in space, in his world of aliens, and he just says, Stitch lost, and he's out in the world without a place to go, and just this feeling of being lost in the world, and not really grounded into any one space, and not really having a place where you can just exhale. This sucks, and I am so sorry, and I can tell you it will not only change or be different with time, which of course can help, but with your focus on trying to rebuild a new home. This is a space where you have to find a new normal. If you are a person like me who has lost home a while ago, I lost my feeling of home about 4 years ago now with the death of my mom, and have started to reframe what home is to me and re-examine what home looks like, as well as create a new home away from home where I live now in Chicago, I am really proud of you. I'm really proud of what you've made of this new normal, of your new life, of this life after loss that you don't really want to be living. We don't want to have to rebuild a new home for ourselves, but we do and we can. And I'm just really proud of you for taking those steps and for feeling through this lost space and for insisting on finding home again. If you have just lost somebody, if you have just lost a person in your life, or if you are going through the first stages of a divorce, or if you're kind of coming to this place where you know a diagnosis is going to cause pieces of your home to change or be reorganized or gone, or if you've got kids moving out, something is happening in your life where you're about to experience loss or you're experiencing loss right now, know that this is preemptive and this is kind of a warning, like a red flag, like a message from the future to you. You will lose what home is to you right now. This is not me trying to get you to grieve in advance. This is not me trying to tell you that you're going to lose everything and it's going to implode all at once. But when you come home after this happens, as you live in this home throughout this grief experience, know that your feelings of home will change. This is it's just a little warning. It's a little caution sign. It's a little saying that, hey, this is going to be different in the future and that's okay. And it's part of grief and you are not alone in this. That's the big deal. We cannot prevent life from continuing on after we lose our homes. We can't prevent people from getting remarried or selling the furniture, getting new furniture, or painting the house different colors, or getting boyfriends or girlfriends, or graduating, or giving birth. We can't prevent these new things from happening after loss. And we also can't bring the old things back. We can't put old photos back on the walls. We can't hear their voice through the house again. We don't see their handwriting on little post-it notes all over the fridge and all over their drawers and their clipboards and things that they keep around. So we can't cling to what's old, but we also cannot stop what's new. So home is going to change, and our feelings of home will change. And if there is a space in your world where you're feeling homelessness right now, just know that I see you. I love you. I am so, so proud, always, of the work that you're doing in the world. This is a part of grief, and you're living it right now. You're doing it. You're doing it. If you want more thoughts on home this week, please feel free to listen to the podcast episode that I placed here above. I've also written a blog post over on this at my website, shelbyprasithia.com, if you'd like to read a little bit more on feeling homeless after loss. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next week for another Facebook Live. Bye.